Do you want to know my secret in getting a 90 out of 90 in the PTE speaking component? Watch this video and you'll find out.
Pass your PTE for only 649 pesos. Avail our PTE book available on various online platforms. Welcome back to 9.09er YouTube channel, and last week we focused on PTE writing, but this week it's the turn of Sir Brian Martin Shawson to share with you his tips and tricks, how he got the perfect 90 over 90 in PTE speaking. This is Irvin Temporal of 9.09er English, and we have Sir Brian Martin Shawson who got the perfect grade in all components of PTE. For this particular episode, we are going to focus on PTE speaking. First things first, let's talk about the controversial introduction of the human raters in late 2024. When PTE entered the Philippines in 2015 or 2016, back then it was an AI assessed or AI evaluated examination. It's just that in late 2024, Pearson Test of English introduced human raters in two components of PTE speaking, namely Retell lecture and describe image. So let's ask Sir Brian right here. How come PTE decided to introduce human raters in two types of questions in PTE? There's Retell lecture and describe image. Sir Brian?
Honestly, I feel that the inclusion of human raters is just a very natural and logical thing to do, especially because the PTE is starting to enter other markets and is starting to be accepted in a wide range of application procedures and countries. This is not only for test security, but also to ensure that the PTE is able to correctly assess the aptitude of individuals to really thrive in English-speaking countries and not just have to rely on a lot of techniques or strategies doing the examination by tricking the AI or hacking the system. So this adds an extra layer of security to ensure that the responses of the candidates are accurate, and at the same time, this also makes it a very attractive examination to accept in various applications, and of course the accepting bodies would require it for security purposes.
So guys, there are 5 types of questions in PTE speaking. The 3 of them are still assessed or evaluated by AI. The other 2 are also assessed by AI, but with the introduction of additional human raters. So Sir Brian, what are the 5? Let's begin with the first 3 that we are not going to do for today, and then later we'll focus on the last 2.
Actually, we have 5. The first one is, of course, a very easy task that is read aloud. And then we have repeat sentence. We have what we're going to discuss today, describe image, and then retell lecture, which we're also going to tackle today. And the last one is answer short questions.
So we're not going to talk about the 3 which are presumed to be easy. Let's focus on the 2 challenging types of questions in PTE speaking that are, by the way, not available in other English examinations. So we have describe image and retell lecture. So, Sir Bri, between the 2, which one would you like to talk about first? Retell lecture or describe image?
We'll go with the easier one, which is describe image, certainly. Retell lecture is really difficult, and we probably need more energy for that. So it's actually a type of examination in which you're going to be provided different materials. It could be a graph, a chart, an illustration, or a picture even. It could be a model of something. It could also be a process. So you're going to be provided something like that, and your task is to describe the picture for 40 seconds or less. In my experience, the best way to go about it is to provide a response that is a little over 30 seconds to maximize the time and to ensure that you're able to demonstrate your language within that time period. But most importantly, you need to be able to conclude. So a conclusion is definitely non-negotiable for describe image. You have to get to the conclusion. Regardless of how well you describe, if you're not able to conclude, then you're going to lose points for that. So it's very important that as a candidate, you're prepared, and coaching really helps with that at 9.09er so that you could fit your answer within 40 seconds and still maximize your chances of getting the right results. And here is the picture. You will be given some time to study the picture. And as you can see here, there are trees, it's a park, there are birds flying in the sky, maybe a backdrop of buildings like a red kite. So children playing, some people are running, and there's a woman in the bench. There's a small pond right here with a duck. I'm not sure if it's a duck or something, but we can assume. And how you're going to describe this should be natural and organic. Even before when I took the examination back in 2015 when it was introduced, I never used templated responses. So most candidates would just go and say, I can see a picture of a park, I can see red, I can see blue, I can see green. It's a beautiful image that can be used for future purposes. Like, what the heck? That's not gonna work in the test. So yeah, we try to describe this as organically as we can. A tip I could share with you is while you're describing, do not focus too much on your sentences, focus more on the picture, because otherwise your oral fluency will be affected and you might not be able to perform as well, or you might actually get a little bit of focus, or you might miss a few details. So look at the picture while you're describing. Okay, so here is a sample response. The picture shows a lively city park on a sunny day. In the foreground, there are two children flying a red kite, and they appear to be having some fun. Nearby, there's a woman sitting on a bench, reading a book and smiling. In the background, there are two people jogging, and there's a winding path in the park, and a man walking his dog. The park is filled with tall, green trees and a few birds flying in the blue sky. In conclusion, this is probably a scene that is both peaceful and energetic in a modern or metropolitan park. That's good. Well, for your PTE speaking, it doesn't have to be so complicated.
If you've noticed, Sir Brian did not use templated responses. How do we know if it's memorized or not? If it's something generally applicable in every picture that you see, that's your template right there. And you'll be penalized for that one, because now human raters are going to give you a low grade for content if you just use the memorized scripts proliferating on the internet. So that's the first type of question. Later, we're going to talk about the summary of everything that we have discussed for this episode. But meanwhile, let's proceed to the second type of PTE speaking question, and that is Retell lecture. Sir Bri?
Probably this is the most challenging for me, and well,
for most candidates,
for most
I assume.
candidates who are taking this exam, they're always complaining about Retell lecture. So what happens here is you're going to listen to a pretty lengthy discussion. It's about 1 minute, 30 seconds and up. And then you're supposed to summarize that in a 40-second Retell lecture response. And so it could be very difficult. You're given some time to organize your thoughts for 10 seconds, but that's too short, in my honest opinion. You can take down notes while you're listening to the recording. But I guess the problem here is that a lot of people don't have the attention span for it because it's kind of long. So let's hear a sample for this one.
Today I'd like to talk about the importance of bees and the crucial role they play in maintaining healthy ecosystems. Bees are among the most effective pollinators in the world. When bees visit flowers to collect nectar, pollen sticks to their bodies and is carried from flower to flower. This process is called pollination, and it's vital for the reproduction of many types of plants, including those that produce fruits, vegetables, and nuts. In fact, scientists estimate that around 1/3 of the food we eat depends on pollinators like bees. Crops such as apples, almonds, blueberries, and cucumbers all rely heavily on bee pollination. But the significance of bees extends beyond just agricultural crops. Bees also pollinate a wide range of wild plants, which provide food and shelter for other animals and help prevent soil erosion. By supporting plant growth and biodiversity, bees contribute to healthy forests, grasslands, and gardens. Unfortunately, bee populations worldwide are in decline. There are several reasons for this, including habitat destruction as land is cleared for development, the widespread use of pesticides that can poison bees, climate change which disrupts their natural life cycles, and the spread of diseases and parasites such as the Varroa mite. The decline in bees is alarming, as it could have far-reaching effects on food security, the stability of natural habitats, and the overall balance of ecosystems. To help protect bees, many experts recommend planting more flowers, reducing the use of pesticides, supporting local beekeepers, and preserving natural habitats. By taking action now, we can help ensure that bees continue to thrive and provide essential services to both agriculture and the environment.
Okay, so that's pretty complicated. And you have 10 seconds to compose your thoughts right before you go with the summary. A tip I can share with you for this part of the examination is not to be too detailed, because if you explain too much, there will be a chance that you're not going to finish all of the key points in the recording, and you might run out of time, so that's going to impact your score heavily. Here, you just have to basically mention the important key points. If there are so many details in between, you don't have to mention everything, okay? What you remember is what you'd have to say. So let's deliver a sample Retell lecture for that particular question. The lecture explains that bees are very important to the environment because they are key pollinators. Bees often transfer pollens from one flower to another, and this allows the plants to reproduce and to produce fruits and vegetables. However, bees are starting to disappear, and it impacts biodiversity because they're the ones pollinating wild plants and other animals. So it is very important or crucial for people to protect the habitat of the bees and to prevent the decline of bee populations. And that's it basically. All right, it doesn't have to be as detailed, like, you know, there's so many different things that were mentioned there. You don't have to do that. And by the way, in this part of the examination, don't try to be perfect, because a lot of people don't want to use, for example, fillers, and that's perfectly fine in other examinations. But for the PTE, you would rather use a filler than to pause, because pausing would show that you have poor oral fluency, at least to the algorithm of AI, compared to a more natural pause using a filler. So again, don't pause for a long time, use a filler instead.
So while I was listening to Sir Brian, I'm thinking, in order to do well in Retell lecture, number one, you need to have listening skills. Why? There is nothing for you to retell if in the first place you have poor listening skills, because whatever you're going to share will actually be dependent on what you have heard. Unlike in other English examinations, you don't have to summarize anything, you don't have to retell anything. And for PTE, you cannot have a short attention span, because that recording was actually long.
Yeah, it is.
So if you miss some of the important details here, you'll never become up with a summary or a lecture that is going to get a satisfactory grade in the examination. So now, let's ask Sir Brian here certain questions, okay? Let's begin with question number one. How is it, or how come there are certain vloggers on YouTube recommending the use of templates for Retell lecture when, in fact, every time you're going to hear a recording, the topic actually changes?
Well, I guess that's for ease and convenience of the test takers. And, well, let's be honest, in the past, they used to work. But since there are now human raters, it's going to be absolutely pointless and illogical to use templated responses in the test. There have been changes in the examination that will bar the use of these templated responses, and it will not make any sense anymore to use them this time.
Okay, question number two. Sir Brian, is it okay to shout in the speaking subtest so that the microphone is going to hear everything that you have to say at the expense of the fellow candidates who are also talking in the speaking subtest?
Oh my goodness. So there are actually several people who suggest that, and I don't know where on earth that tip came from, because if you're going to be shouting at the top of your lungs onto the microphone, then what's going to be recorded is also absolutely garbled. So there's nothing to assess if the speech is unrecognizable by the computer. This is not going to help you to pass the exam, and also you are going to be probably reprimanded by your test administrator or your invigilator on the floor because you're going to be distracting other people who are also taking the examination. And it's just not a good practice, guys. Does it increase your score? I promise.
Okay, question number 3. When certain candidates talk fast, are they going to get a high grade for PTE speaking?
No. That's completely insane. I don't know who gave that suggestion. It's probably because a lot of people feel that if you speak too fast, you sound a bit more natural, or maybe if you're talking too fast, it masks your accent. But in the first place, your accent is recognized by AI. And this is a sophisticated program. This is not text-to-speech or something. And this is a very advanced speech recognition AI utility that's being utilized in the examination. So you don't really have to talk really fast to mask your accent. You just have to talk with whatever accent you have in a regular pacing that you're comfortable with. It doesn't have to be too fast or too slow. A moderate pacing will be fine, and it's going to be clearer, ultimately leading to a higher score.
Okay, for my last question related to PTE speaking, if candidates get lower grade in the speaking subtest, can they blame the microphone?
No, because the score is low, not 0.
Okay.
Because if there's nothing that was recorded in the microphone, then your score will be 0. If you're getting 27 or 36 in your examination, then look at your enabling components, look at your skills profile. And there you will see the explanation as to why you got a low score. Possibly you're using template responses. Maybe you're using something that is illegal in the test and that led to your lower score. But as long as there's a score there, it means that there's something that the AI was able to pick up. If there is absolutely nothing heard on the microphone, or your microphone is a little faulty, you get 0 for that.
So I have no more questions, but now maybe we ask Sir Brian to invite our dear viewers to maximize the 9.09er program for PTE. So what do we have to offer for PTE, Sir Brian?
Well, in our program, we have unlimited webinars or lectures. We also have coaching, which could be limited or unlimited depending on your package. We also have the AI platform that you can utilize to practice on several items for the test, or a full mock test that is graded. And what I would probably suggest at this point is for you to have coaching, because a lot of people take the examination without the proper guidance to take the test. And sometimes if you're only out on your own assessing what's wrong and diagnosing your problems through our AI utility, you might not be able to explain to yourself what is wrong exactly with your performance. Or if you keep attempting the examination and getting low scores and not being able to explain to yourself what went wrong during those attempts, then coaching is the answer for you. Our coaches can give you adequate advice or feedback that will help you to improve your performance to get you test ready for your PTE.
And if you're looking for an affordable review material, this book is available on various online platforms. This one as low as 649 pesos. And we also have books for other English exams, IELTS, OET, MET, and soon CELPIP. Guys, once again, this is 9.09er English. Watch out for more content. But before we move on to the next video, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.